May I have a roll call, please? Here. Thank you so much. Mr. Christmas Fifth, if you would do the invocation for us, please. Okay.
Everybody bow your head. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the grace and mercy you bestow on us always. Please give us the intuition and the body of mind and spirit to make the best decision for the city of Port Arthur, and grant us the abilities to be able to deliver those decisions with confidence. We ask all these things with your son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so before us, we all have a copy of the minutes from our special meeting on April 5th, the regular meeting on the 5th of April, special meetings on both the 22nd and the 29th of April. May I have a motion to approve those? It's been moved and second that we approve the minutes for all of those meetings. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? It says that we have no presentations or communications. Is that still? Okay. If there be no communications, we'll move to our first report, and that's going to be our workforce development report. Renata.
Good evening. I'm going to start off with our youth employment program. I'm proud to announce that we actually had 41 submissions this year for our youth employment program, 9 in the area of welding, 13 in health science, 2 machinists, 3 construction, 3 AutoCAD, 7 business, 2 auto mechanic, and 2 auto body. Proud to also announce that the following employees, as you can see in your packet, that we actually partnered with Robogistics, being one, Standard Alloys, and Team Fabricators. They have all chosen to take on some youth this summer to work. And so we're really, really happy about that. I will say that we currently have 18 total placements out of 20, which is a pretty good number compared to last year, despite the COVID. Moving on to scholarship, we had 17 scholarship applications submitted. 1 was actually denied due to residency, and 2 were denied due to GPA. All applications in my possession, a couple of them have been calibrated, just kind of waiting those final tabulations from the committee members, and I have spoken to them, and they plan on getting the rest of that information to me this week. Our CDL program, the CDL class A and B, they're coming along well, despite the challenges from COVID and the death of a instructor that we didn't really know about, but we found that out. And students are eagerly inquiring and calling and coming into the EDC. New student intake is an ongoing process. We currently have the following for fiscal year 2021, 21 receiving in-class instruction, either it be a Class A or a Class B. 6 students have been dropped due to being timed out of the class. We found out that upon inception of the class, you either have a 10-week program or a 15-week program, and you have to finish that particular certification within those specified weeks, whether it be Class A or B. 4 certifications have been awarded, 2 Class A and 2 Class B. The newsletter. The newsletter is in its final format. You guys actually have a copy of that in your packet tonight, and we'll get to that later on. Once you guys approve or disapprove, we will move forward with that. Also, before close of business today, I did receive the final insertion for the newsletter, which came from Acadian Ambulance. So we will have that featured in our newsletter as well. And the goal is to get this out to Port Arthur and Sabine Pass residents at the end of May, if not early June. And that concludes my report tonight. Do you guys have any questions?
Go ahead.
That's actually on the agenda tonight. Actually, our CNA program, unfortunately, it's been terminated.
The question was about the CDL program. We kind of discussed about the payments on that and
Yes.
all of that.
That's on the agenda tonight
That's
as well.
on the agenda. Okay, gotcha. All right.
And we do have a representative from Lamar State College, Port Arthur, that plans to be on the call as well.
Any other questions for Renata?
Yes, on the CDL program, Ms. Lee, do those guys or girls that actually graduated, do they have any job prospects laid out for them yet? Or are they still looking for avenues to engage with the larger work community?
From my conversations with the contact there, they actually help them find jobs. And I have reached out to several of them to see if they've been placed. And I do have a rolling deck on my computer in my Excel spreadsheet, which tells where they're going and if they're working. And some are actually working locally. Some are with the city of Port Arthur. Some are working in Beaumont with FedEx. It just all depends on who hires them. But it's throughout the whole Southeast Texas. Yeah. That's Dr. Stafford.
At this point in time, we have employers who are simply begging for students.
Yeah.
The program at the college, our main evening program, we're being requested to run as rapidly as possible to turn out graduates. The need for drivers throughout the pandemic has simply doubled in size because of the governor's focus on keeping goods and services moving in Texas. We started a class today that is a dedicated class for HOTARD coaches, public-private partnership, where we're training half of the class. They'll bring in HOTARD buses, and we'll finish the training with a special course that they have to have in hospitality, and then HOTARD will be making offers to every graduate in the class. So at this point, I would say job potential in CDL is simply a given.
Okay. I had a recommendation I wanted to offer to you. I don't know if you heard of the DOD
Yes,
Skill
sir.
Bridge program, but those guys that are exiting out of the military, they in the last 90 days of their enlistment, they actually go through an internship that's paid through by the military, and they can get
Yes, sir.
they can be paid by the military, but also still go through your school, and they already heavy equipment certified because they are 88 mics, so they have an 88 mic series MOS, right? So if you're looking
love it.
if you're looking to speed up the people that already been driving heavy duty trucks and trailers and doing 2 and 3 different hitch ups or whatever you want to towing stuff, those guys are already kind of spun up in that area. And if you want to connect with
I
those
hear you.
guys to get into your program, to get money through the military that pays for them in the last 90 days, you got some people already kind of in that lane. They can probably just pick up and run
I
with
do.
it.
I love it. If Ms. Lee could give you my email, and if you would send me in an email, we will certainly confer on that.
Okay, well, I will do that. I will share that information. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And before I said, just Dr. Stafford is on the phone, but today was we actually have one student that actually started the scaffolding class on today, so we're happy about that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next report is the program compliance report. Okay. Okay, based on what was given to us, anyone have any questions? You know, Crystal is not here to address any of those. Everybody's okay? All right, we'll move on to our financial report.
Current financial report, and then she's going to discuss the draft of your 2021, 2022 budget. Is that what you're prepared to do, Rachel?
Yes, sir. So we'll be, good evening, Board.
Evening.
We'll begin with your financial report for the month of April, effective April 30th of 2021. Please let me know if you're having any problems hearing me. This is new to me, so if you have a problem, just let me know. Okay, we'll start with our revenue. Our estimated sales tax for October of 2021 was $4,400,000. Our actual cost at this time is $2,234,684, leaving unrealized revenue of $2,165,316. Our interest revenue was estimated at $75,000. Currently, we have collected $13,538, leaving us an unrealized revenue of $61,462. Our loan reached $2,505,844, leaving us an unrealized revenue of $2,540,370. Our expenditures at this time is $1,909,656, leaving us an excess over revenue of expenditures of $3,136,558. Of our $866,533 debt service, we have an obligation of $433,266 left on this fiscal year. That leaves us a net change in fund balance of $2,270,025. If we take our estimated fund balance at the beginning of the year of $4,501,694, we're estimating a fund balance at the end of the year of $6,771,719. And of course, that's effective as of April of this year. As usual, if you look behind your paperwork, you'll see the breakdown, the line items from salary and benefits, supplies and maintenance, contractual service, and you'll see where those numbers are coming from if you look just behind the sheet. We collected so far in taxes for the month of April. As of the month of April, you'll see the tax here of $1,058,039 for April. You'll see the EDC breakdown at the bottom. Everything else is still the same. Let's see here. So if you have any questions on this, because everything is right behind it, if you have any questions on the report, you can call me or come by. It's really kind of self-explanatory. Everything is behind. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you have a large agenda tonight. So if we just switch over for a minute and look at the proposed operating budget that we prepared, this is going to be for fiscal year 2022. At this time, of course, we always give the board, just with the numbers that we come across, looking at our historical years and trying to estimate how much we're going to use. So we pretty much stayed in. We went up just a little bit. I tried to stay as close as I can to last year's budget. I could tell you the shaded gray area is the area that usually Mr. Baptiste will ask the board, you know, you might have some ideas of how much you would like for us to gear towards those different categories. And that is development, business park development. Our 4B development is pretty much already set, but some of those in job training. He usually asks if there's any recommendations by the board where they want to gear a certain dollar amount towards anything. But at this time, if you look at the shaded area, this is the numbers that I am proposing to the board. Now, I can go through this really quickly. I'll go through it under the ribbons, and I can tell you under the supplies and material ribbons, and I'll go from the largest thing that changed. We're increasing our office supplies to accommodate both the EDC and the press building, because in our next budget year, you will have two buildings. You will have this building to accommodate and also the press building a little bit, just kind of get them started. Under the maintenance ribbon, the cost is staying the same across the board. So our maintenance cost is not expected to change next year. Under your contractual services ribbon, rent is going away. The EDC now owns the building, so we're not responsible for paying rent anymore. The contingency will decrease. Last year's budget included some costs for some unforeseen expenses that could have been, we just left that item kind of high last year, but we're bringing it down this year. We no longer need that much money in contingency. And if you look here, we're bringing it down to $100,000. So that's a significant change in that line item. Our other contractual service is also decreasing. Okay, so I got to kind of explain this one to you too. So under our other contractual services, last year we had $1 million in to match with Lamar, the partnership with Lamar Port Arthur State College for the Armory building. And then we had our regular operating costs for the building. Now we're estimating that we're going to pay out at least 25% of that $1 million in this fiscal year. So we're only going to be carrying over the difference to the new year and then actually funding our fixed cost and then actually supplying a little cushion for any unforeseen. So that other contractual service now is down to $100,000. Yes, it went down because of that. I'm sorry, I'm getting myself mixed up. Okay, so in development, that is our other large item. In development, we're decreasing from last year's budget. We're estimating right now we have a carryover of $1,098,154 for current development projects. And we're budgeting $1.2 million for any new development for the new fiscal year. The rest of the cost, which is not much, is also going to be for unforeseen expenses. The total line for this line item will be $2.3 million. But of course, it's covering a carryover, plus we're funding for a new fiscal year. Okay? Our 4B development is also containing a carryover. The current budget for fiscal year 2021, we have $750,000. We're scheduled to have one closing in the month of May, and also 4 new homes are going up also this fiscal year. So we're estimating that we're going to spend down at least $150,000, leaving a carryover of $600,000. The new budget for the fiscal year 2022 will fund $300,000 to that. Now, the total cost to fund the fiscal year 22 for affordable housing is going to be $900,000. It's going to be a carryover plus your $300,000 to fund for your new year. In that line item is also $1 million. As you know, the Parks proposition did pass on May 1st. So there's $1 million there for Adams Park, Rose Hill Park, and Recreation Center. Your promotional programs is changing, but just a little bit, not very much. And our job training is also going to it's staying the same. The only thing we're going to add is Crystal is going to take about $40,000 on that line item to work with her current clients to get a little, I think, on-the-job training together for that. So we're trying to allow a little bit for some retainage and just kind of getting some knowledge in on that side of what we already have. I worked really hard trying to keep these numbers down. Our debt service is not changing very much either. I'm really thinking this year is looking pretty good, and I'm thinking that we can, actually, these numbers could work for us in the next fiscal year. If y'all have any changes or any questions on any of the line items or anything, just give me a call or email. Right now, we're looking pretty good. I don't foresee any problems, and I don't see any problems with us not staying within this budget for next year.
You said $40,000 is what she's using for training?
Yes. And it might not be 40,000, but she have current clients. So it might not be exactly 40. We just got a number out there right now. This is our proposed.
And Crystal only deal with folks that we have economic incentive contracts with. So a lot of those people are on the job training. And normally, most of them have obligation to hire for operators, so we don't put a lot of people training with contracts in for. It's those other people,
These are not her training, this is the individual's training?
it's the port operator.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
While I'm on this, one of the things, this year, Rachel has the budget for 2 buildings, because we're gonna be operating 2 buildings. You're gonna see the utility costs is going up. Your communication costs going up, and, and we're projecting, hopefully, this is very tight budget, folks, very tight budget, and I think like Rachel said, we certainly kind of be very, very conservative with our budget. There was some of those line items, that, we boosted up because of the 2 buildings. This year, we cannot project right now, Rachel, right, that our carryover funds, because there's some items that, we probably will go over budget on.
Yeah, of course, yes, because we still have at least 5 months or so to go, so of course, right.
So, we cannot project how much of that money we're gonna carry over into the fund balance right now, because several items, we way over what we budgeted this year. But I think she did a great job, an excellent job in being conservative, and, it's gonna be another tough year next year.
I only have one question.
Yes.
So that increase in software, that's because of the other building as well? What is it, if I don't mind me asking? If that has to do with the big, amazing?
Yeah, is that your $1,200 a month? Is that the one? Okay, yeah.
Yardi, that's a big software program that does multifamily and things like that. They've been around about 35 years, which was real important because a co-working space is so new that a lot of these companies are fly-by-night or they've just gone into business and I don't know their track record. I personally used Yardi for 15 years. And it's white box, we can set up our website, anything exactly how we want it for the same cost that we're already paying. And I think you're gonna be pleased with it. Anyone that comes to rent, at the building, whether it's a day desk or an office, will be able to pay for that rental through the app, and it becomes our online space for our entrepreneurial network. So I think once you guys see what it is, you'll be very pleased.
Thank you. Any other questions for Rachel?
Anything else? Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you,
so
board. Y'all have a
much.
nice evening.
You do the same. Next, we'll have our Community and Business Center report.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
So it's getting exciting at the press building. We have walls going up, we have tile going in, we have flooring being placed in the EOC. So again, I invite you guys, if you'd ever like to take a walk through it, just give me 24 hours notice and I'll coordinate with John. And they'd be more than happy to allow you all to walk through the building. Construction is moving along as planned, as I put in the report. And I don't know if you guys have gone by the front of the building, but that Knoxwood siding that looks like Ipe wood, very modern, is absolutely gorgeous. Lamar staff did walk through the building on the 16th of April, and they are very pleased with the progress. The contractor and the kitchen supply guys did find out that they did neglect to order some sheeting that goes behind the vent hoods and 2 sinks. So you guys will see me come to you next month for that purchase. They didn't get it to me on time for this meeting, but it won't slow down construction progress, so it's not a real big deal. The request for proposals for the leased kitchen, Cliff in the city's purchasing department is gonna put that out to everywhere that he normally puts an RFP. We also have contacted some local restaurateurs. Now, I have not seen it in the paper. He told me it would run on April 30th, and I've been trying to reach him since Friday to see if he did put it in that format and get it out, you know, to the small restaurateurs, even if it didn't make the paper. So once he responds to me, I'll send you guys an email tomorrow because I haven't heard back from him. But the plan is to have a short list of qualified applicants. So what we've asked for is that everybody turn in an RFP by a certain date. We're gonna time stamp it. Those will be the only people that you guys, you know, get to see. We'll shortlist it. I'm not gonna waste your time with someone that has no capital, no plan, that has never operated a restaurant. I'm not gonna waste your time with those people, but we'll get a short list of applicants, and then I'll send that information to you guys. And by June, we'll start discussing it, and then by August, my plan is to have a selection so that they can begin making preparations to start serving breakfast and lunch in September. Also, with regards to our roadmap program, which the name will probably change because there's a local LNG plant who started doing virtual classes, not Motiva, but they're actually calling it roadmaps. So we'll probably change the name of our program, but we have delayed it just a little bit. We didn't have our webinar on the 28th, and the main reason for that is that I took some training last week, and we're gonna do this on a much bigger scale than was originally planned. We're not just gonna put some people together, some webinars, and just, you know, put it out there. We're actually going to be what I call the hub and the spoke of wheels. We're going to work with area partners. We're going to create an entrepreneurship zone. We have the Small Business Development Center. We have 2 chambers in this building. We have the press building. We have City Hall. So we're going to call this our entrepreneurship zone and get people accustomed to that, build our network. And what we're going to call it is Better Together Port Arthur. So we're going to invite all the partners to the table because we don't want to duplicate efforts. What we want to do is streamline their efforts and make sure that, you know, everybody is getting the resource, the opportunity to utilize the resources in this, you know, downtown area. So I've even talked to a lady at Lamar State College. At Lamar University in Beaumont, there is a 4-year entrepreneurship degree. This is the 3rd year. And Lamar Port Arthur's thinking about doing maybe a 2-year degree along the same lines. So this thing is gonna be big, it's gonna be great. And so I would rather delay it a little bit since we won't be moving into our portion of the building in September than release something on behalf of you guys and then have to revamp it in a couple of months. I'd rather get it right the first time. Also in your packet, you'll see this ad. This ad has been submitted to the city so that we can publish it, to the Port Arthur News so that it can be published. It is asking small business owners to become part of our downtown revitalization and Entrepreneurial Support Network. It has been translated into Vietnamese and Spanish, because what we found is that those two communities tend to have their own economic ecosystem, and so we want to draw those people into ours. So that's very important to us. So that's all I have for you. It's busy, busy, busy. You guys have any questions? No?
Thank you so much for your report.
You're welcome.
The only thing, Dan, I would say, I know you invited the board, and I certainly we can go on that time, if y'all wish to take a walk through the building. The best time is after 3:30,
Correct.
because we got a lot of work that's going on out there, but if you guys would like to go, Thursday or Friday would be a better day for them. Just let Jana know, and we can take you guys to where to. You really begin to see.
To see a building. All right, thank you.
Thank you, John. Mr. Baptiste, do you have a CEO report?
I was gonna talk about the budget, but, Rachel took care of that. The only thing I would say, the budget is gonna be, sales tax last month. If you look at what Rachel gave you guys, this is the first month of the year that it was down, here in Port Arthur. But for the year overall, for the year, we're still up 6% more than we had last year. I think, we're in pretty good shape, because as you guys know, we had an eighth of our money going to street maintenance. Now that 1/8 come back to you, so for the remaining year, you probably think another, $600,000? About additional $600,000 is going to go to street maintenance, so we should be in pretty good shape. The only other thing,
Mr. Petrie, could you point your mic toward Mr. Baptiste, please, so those on the phone could hear him?
the only other issue we have here is that, as Rachel said, we are budgeting $1 million for the parks that would be made available October 1. And in fact, Ms. Alpo, the director of parks, she has plans to start using that money. She want to put a stick in the ground real quick. So we hope to see something happen there. I think we'll be okay. It's going to be a very conservative year.
Mr. Smith, pull your mic down.
We're gonna get updates on how that money's being used.
They will present projects to this board, and the board will approve it. They have a plan. They have their plan. It's not our plan, it's their plan, but we will put up to $1 million. Portion of this money, I will let you guys know, some of this money can be used for match money. Because talking to Ms. Alpo, Joy, they have engaged people to try to find the money, and they're trying to make this $3 million turn into $6 million or $7 million. So I think she has a very aggressive plan to make these parks some real nice parks.
Any other questions for Mr. Baptiste? All right, we'll move on to our non-consent agenda. Item number 1, to discuss for possible consideration amending the year 2020-2021 budget in the amount of $524,850. Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman and Commissioner, several months ago, you guys approved a Phase 2 for the press building at $1.6 million. And in your package, I went back, I had a discussion with the contractors. I was doing a lot of study on this stuff. I ran some if you guys look at the very back of this page here, Mr. Petrie, you know about AGC, the building association. The price of everything is going up. The price of everything is going up. So the question I had, and that's why I'm bringing it to you guys, and it's up to you guys. We might either do it now at the price where it's at now, because we don't know what the price is going to be tomorrow. A lot of the stuff that I'm reading, this price may be like this till 2022. So I went back and I asked the contractor, what is going to cost me to complete this building now? You know, and the contractor, what I gave you guys, if you guys look at this form here, what I gave you guys is the white portion. The shaded portion is all phase 1 and 2. The white portion is all white box. So in order to complete the building, all the white box, they gave us a proposal of $24,860. And what we're asking you guys, if you guys want to move forward with the completion of this building and amend it, you're going to have to amend your budget for the additional money, because it's not in your budget. That's what we're asking you guys today to do, to amend your budget if you guys want to complete the white box. If you guys want to wait till the future, that's up to you guys.
Questions?
Baptiste, you think he's really sure about that cost though for that second level of white box? You think he's absolutely pretty sure that that's what that cost's gonna be, even though we know the price of material is going up?
It will be a guaranteed maximum price.
Okay, so if by chance it's beyond that, what's
It's that
the?
cost.
That's on them?
Yes, sir.
All right, there we go. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Do we have anything to compare this price to?
This,
The price, do you have anything to compare it to?
no, they are a choice partner. We use the choice partner deal. Unless you want to have another contractor come in there. You know, we stayed with the same contractor.
Yeah, how much he said it was to complete that white portion?
524, 860. That's all the white portion of this building here, Pete. And a lot of that is, you know, because we had a white box, you won't have air flowing there. Now they don't have to break up the system. It's cheaper to do it in my mind, and that's why I'm bringing it to you. It's cheaper to do it now than having to go back and re-engineer how you're going to get, you know, your air ducts and everything, your airflow to the white box.
I'm just thinking,
And then another thing to think about, these are your long-term office spaces for
Right.
your lease, and this is the commercial kitchen that'll be, you know, for the community, whoever, like she mentioned, for the, open to the public. So, in short, this is where you'll be getting your lease money from.
how many square feet is that white box?
I don't have it by square foot, Mr. Did he put it in the deal? I'm not sure.
Is that his proposal? I'm trying to figure out what is he charging per square feet. I would like to take that number that he has and divide it with square feet and see what his cost is per square feet.
I'm not sure, Mr. Speaker. Total square footage for the white box.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Anna, you have that? Or you would have to calculate it. I think she could calculate it because she got all these.
How many square feet is it?
Mr. Petrie, could you utilize that mic that's right next to you there?
Yes, sir. I apologize, sir.
Thank you.
How many square feet is it, ma'am?
The first floor white box, the lease kitchen is about 2,700 square
What's the total of all of them? You got 26, okay, you got 20, I'll do it. You got 2,700?
14,868 square feet.
Okay, so what was the price?
5,024.
5,024, 524,000? And how many square feet? 14?
Is that including the second floor, Jen?
That's the first and second
That's
floor,
a,
1,009.
You've already divided it? Okay.
per square foot, is that?
That's not a bad price at all.
Well, that's under that choice partnership program. You know, you got this choice of a certain price.
Not to mention, they're already mobilized. You don't have to worry about them demobilizing, somebody else mobilizing.
Getting each other way.
This the time to do it if we're gonna do it.
And like what Mr. said, if it go over,
It's on them.
Kate, that's in our last contract, if you go back and look at it, we did have a guaranteed maximum price. And this is gonna be the same thing. I think, Kate, we talked about if the board would approve, we would not have a new contract, we just amend this one, right? We just amend, so it's a guaranteed maximum price. Anything above that price is on them.
Is it on the agenda as an action item tonight?
We asked you to approve the additional money because we got to go, we're gonna have to do a budget adjustment.
That's what I'm asking. Is it on for action tonight?
Number one.
Yes, the number one is,
Chairman,
number one is
I so
on for
move.
action.
I so move that we approve it.
All right, it's been moved. I need a second. All right, it's been moved and second that we amend our 2021 budget in the amount of $524,850. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 2, to discuss for possible consideration, enter into a job order contract with Cytex Construction Corp. of Beaumont, Texas, utilizing Choice Partners, JOC Texas, contract based on local C and CCI and there of 89 and completing the build-out of 549 4th Street. Okay, that's what we just talked about.
Just relate back to the action you just took. What we're asking you guys to do is amend the phase 2 job order contract that y'all had with CTEX to include the 524,860.
This is the one with the guaranteed maximum price, right?
Yeah, this is the contract here.
Okay, we just-
amending- this was
we
the
just talked
original
about this.
contract, Mr. Speaker. We just amending it to add the 5.
And so move.
Thank you. It's been moved and second that we move forward with agenda item number 2. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 3, to discuss for possible consideration a letter of intent from Mesquite Coating. Mr. Baptiste.
Yes, again, Commissioners, Chair, this is just a letter of intent. These gentlemen have been working with the port, and they want to bring their facility downtown Port Arthur. They are requesting some economic incentive grant. They do qualify on the NAISC code. We have not gone through the process. It's strictly a letter of intent.
I have a question. You saying downtown?
They looking for a building downtown. I think on Houston Avenue. One of those buildings they're gonna retrofit, Mr. Speaker.
I'm just worrying about overspray and, have they already visited with TCEQ on that?
No, we haven't even started the process. This is just a letter of intent.
Hold on 1 second, sir. 1 second, 1 second.
Hold on, sir.
Yeah, I'm just trying to wait till they finish talking, and we're gonna let him talk. Are y'all done with y'all discussion?
What I,
Thank you so much.
okay, my questions are, by it being downtown, I'm concerned about overspray. Being a coating company, being downtown, I'm kind of concerned about that. And I'm also concerned about have they receive a TCEQ, because for one, you would have to already have a site. I don't recall a public hearing to put a coating company downtown Port Arthur.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. So my name is Justin Pelt. I'm the owner of Mesquite Coatings. So what we apply, what the main coating that the only coating we use is Cerakote. It is a ceramic-based ultra-thin coating. It is a VOC exempt coating. It's no more. There is no need for a TCQ evaluation on this. We've been applying it in downtown Port Arthur with the approval there. We applied it when we were another facility in Port Arthur. As a matter of fact, there's no overspray because it's ran through a scrubbing system and out that. It's not a coating in the terms of most toxicity that you would think of. It's a completely different type, and there's nothing in it that's any more dangerous than a car coating facility or a car painting facility or anything to that nature. And I'd be happy to have Cerakote's headquarters speak to whoever we need to about this.
Well, one thing I do know is if you had a body shop, you will have a TCEQ permit, period.
I'm sorry, sir. I cannot hear anything coming over. It's muffled. I apologize.
Okay. My concern still is the TCEQ permit. I know he made a reference to as coating a car. Well, if you have a body shop and you make repairs, you're going to have a filtration system. You're going to have a TCEQ permit, or they're not going to let you. And so the reference that was...
I'm sorry. I can't respond or hear anything you're saying, sir. It's echoed, muffled at the very best. I apologize. I really want to do my best to make sure that everybody, that I'm on the same page as you, sir. I cannot hear you, and I don't know how to...
Can you hear me now, sir? Can you hear me now?
What he's saying is, even if you have a paint and body shop, you still have to have something from TCEQ. It's the statement that chairman is making.
So what needs to happen to mitigate that? Because we had those same facilities in the city 2 years ago. It's a different business. There was never any need for that.
Did he even apply for a permit?
However, I have no issues pushing forward and getting whatever you need. I'll do whatever you need to do to grow a business in downtown Port Arthur, because that's where we want to be.
I'm going to be honest, and now I have concerns. He's been operating for 2 years, and listening to what he's saying, that he doesn't even have a TCEQ permit. I don't know if the state even know or the city is aware that he's even doing it downtown right now. Because if you're doing coating, he just said he was doing it for 2 years, downtown Port Arthur. Can you ask him to confirm? That's what I
I
heard.
sure hope that whoever's translating this can tell me, because I can't hear
Yes.
anything.
We just want to establish, you said that in the past you had a company that was in Port Arthur that did the same thing. You're just trying to come back under a different name? Is that correct?
No, sir, not at all. I had a company that did something completely different in Port Arthur that offered this service, and now I'm simply trying to come to Port Arthur from Port Neches as an industrial company.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I had nothing to do with wanting to come back to Port Arthur, because this is why I didn't want to in the first place, because I went through this as another company. I was, however, contacted by your EDC to come back because I fall into a manufacturing category, and that you needed those kind of companies to come back, and because we have so much potential. However, I can't hear you to even have a normal debate about this, on this.
Mr. Chairman, can I come here and
if
speak where you can hear
something
me?
To mitigate this, I can't, there's no way that I can hear you and we can be on any kind of page.
Sir,
It's just echoing.
Justin, Mr. Pelt, hold on one second. I know you're having a hard time understanding us. We're at the very beginning of the whole ordeal. Our CEO wants to speak, but this is just a letter of intent. So at this point, really what's going to happen, what happens from here is that the due diligence is done, and any questions that are going to be forthcoming will be asked, and you'll have a chance to address them. And we'll allow, I know our CEO will be in touch with our board member that has these questions, and we can get this settled before it comes back to us as a board when he works out all the
Absolutely.
deal.
I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be that I wasn't attentive of this company, because this is my baby. This is the company that hires disabled veterans, a disabled veteran-owned company that hires and grows and does exactly what the city wants, growing with the school and the potential for people to come into this as an internship. This is that business. I just want you to know that. But yes, I bow out. I'll mute myself. I just wanted to let you know that I'm attentive to this, and I want to be involved in whatever decision is made.
Thank you so very much for you being on the call. Thank you for your response. Thank you for your passion in this matter. It's just a process from here. So you've done your first part, and then from
Understood.
here. Yes,
Understood, and I apologize for the disorder that I've caused.
Mr. Chairman, now, one of the things that concern me is not all this other stuff about veterans and all of that. What concerns me is there's a process for the city. I just went through it myself with my concrete plant, okay? I had to go through TCEQ. If you don't do those things, you're going to ask for some serious problems from the owner of the city, but also with the state of Texas and the federal government. There's certain things you have to do depending on what your services are. When he said that it's kind of like spraying cars, there is hazard chemicals that he's going to have, okay? And there's a special filtration system, a whole lot. And I don't even know if that area on Houston Avenue is even rated as industrial. I'm not sure if that area is. And that's something we'd have to find out. But I would say this. There's some due diligence that need to be done so far as finding out what's needed through the city of Port Arthur. And he can get those departments. Matter of fact, probably with Pamela Langford, they could do a pre-development meeting, which would include all departments head, including the EDC would be there too. And they can tell him exactly what he needs to open up that type of business in Port Arthur. I'm not the one, but I do know there's a process for this type of business. And then to put it downtown, I'm still concerned. If there's not a filtration system, where is it going? So that's just a concern I have.
Again, Mr. Chair, this is a letter of intent. He does meet your NAISC code. If the board desire, we could move forward. Like Mr. Peters said, he will have, whatever you do, if you build up a shoe shine stand, you're going to have to go through a permitting process. And that all those things that Mr. Peters alluded to will, the permitting, Pam and certainly will make him aware of that, right?
My last comment on this is something I could support, but not downtown Port Arthur, Texas.
Again, letter of intent. We wait for the finding facts, but it's still up to us whether to accept the letter of intent as well. So do I have a motion to accept the letter of intent?
I make a motion to accept the letter of intent.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we move forward with the letter of intent. Oh, Lord, I just closed my stuff. From Mesquite Coating, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 4, to discuss for possible consideration an amendment to the economic incentive contract loan agreement with Destech Industrial Services, LLC, doing business as Ramtech. Mr. Baptiste?
Ramtax, you guys, they built in the business park. They're leasing a building in the business park currently, and they had an economic incentive with us, and what they've asked us is to extend their contract because they're not going to meet the obligation of the contract. And our staff recommendation is that you guys extend it because they went through 9 months of COVID. And you know, our contract is based upon payroll to Port Arthur residents, so they were not able to get the work that they had proposed to get, and hopefully we're all expecting that the economy is going to take a turn, hopefully the third quarter or the first quarter of next year, and so our recommendation is that you guys extend the Ramtex agreement for 2 years so that they can meet the contractual obligation and make the payroll that they propose to us.
So move.
Moved in second that we move forward with the extension, excuse me, of the agreement with Ramtech. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 5, to discuss for possible consideration enter into a training agreement with Digital Workforce Academy. Mr. Baptiste.
Yes, sir. I'm going to ask her now that she's been working with the White House.
Good evening again. Digital Workforce Academy. Unfortunately, I just received information about Digital Workforce Academy pertaining to my job about 3 weeks ago. I have had a few questions with, and a couple of conversations with Mr. White. And Mr. White is actually on the phone this evening. I think at the April 5th meeting, you guys were provided a copy of his pre-apprentice classroom training. He did update that training, that information, and it is in your handout. So I'm going to yield all questions pertaining to Digital Workforce Academy to either Deputy Director George Davis or Mr. Floyd Baptiste.
Other than receiving the job description and giving it to you, that's the only communication I have.
I can't hear you, Mr. Baptiste.
Mr. Petrie, could you turn the mic to Mr. Baptiste, please?
I had no discussion. What I'm saying to the board is the only discussion I had was he called and he said he was going to send a new job description based on the pipe fitter that you talked about, Mr. Petrie, and I provided that to you, Mr. Renata.
Right, which is what you guys currently have in your packet tonight. It's just the updated version of what you received at the April 5th meeting. I will tell you that I did take notes from the conversations, the last 2 conversations that we had. He's wanting to train Port Arthur residents to meet criteria or partake in a program that really don't qualify for what he currently has in place. And basically, he's asking to train 30 Port Arthur residents, but after looking at the budget that Crystal and I both share, my recommendation, and I told him that would be 10 or 15 students. And with that, you're looking at an NCCER certification for a pipe fitter level 1. So pretty much is at the discretion of the board. I will tell you that it's $2,700 per student to train. And once again, all the information has been given to you guys in your packet for tonight. I did go to his website, and he does have a phase 1 and a phase 2. Phase 1 is pretty much the soft skills. It's a 2-week part of the class, and then phase 2 is occupational, and it takes 8 weeks. But after they complete that particular training, they are certified. And I think Mr. White is actually on the phone, if he has anything to say.
The only question that I have, I see that the adjustments as far as the pipe fitting is now written in. My only question is the job placement. Is that like a guarantee or some very strong leads once they finish that they'll be able to go straight into the workforce? Mr. White?
Yes, Chairman. We actually do have partnerships with employers. We're not allowed to guarantee anyone
Yes, sir.
a job.
Yes, sir.
We wouldn't dare do that, but we have been working collectively with both of the EPC contractors that's building the Golden Pass LNG facility, McDermott, as well as Zachary Group, where we are actually working with them to be able to talk about placing students in internships and apprenticeships upon completion. But again, they can't guarantee us that they will have jobs. But they will interview every student that come out of our program.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Okay. I would like to see the program. This is not really telling me anything. I do know a little something about piping. When I see students taught to read ISOs, I know what ISO is, and I would like to see the program where they're teaching somebody how to read an ISO. And I'd like to see the whole program, how to do takeoffs and things like that. I mean, I don't see how you're going to learn that in 6 to 8 weeks. Matter of fact, I taught for Lamar University, and I used to some time back, and even now on the piping business, I'm just not seeing a program that's an 8-week-long program able to do any of this stuff. That's my professional opinion. I would like to see the program, evaluate it, and before we even make a decision on this, I'd like to review it. And
Say, Mr. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Continue, Mr. Petrie.
no, he can go ahead.
All right, Mr. White.
I was going to say that within our program over the last 10 years, we've been doing this program. The pipe fitter level 1 position that we've typically had people to test out when they have gone to work with companies, they've tested out at a level 3 pipe fitter helper. Within the 8-week program, it's 125 hours is what the program is, and we have proof to all of our trainees that have come out of our program that are pipe fitter helpers. They have not been able to hire in at level 1. They've been able to hire in at 3 levels above the entry-level pipe fitter helper.
I'm not aware of, Mr. Chairman, what a level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 100 is. I never heard of it. I'm a union company, and I'm familiar with apprentices, but I'm not. All I'm saying is I would like to see the program and what is taught in the program. When someone say they teach someone how to read an ISO, I would like to see what that program is, what they're teaching. There's a lot to that process to have someone to read an ISO, and it's not as easy as just having it written on a piece of paper saying we're teaching that. In 6 weeks, along with all this other stuff that they're teaching, I would like to be able to see what's being taught before we make a decision to entertain this. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just, I would like to see what's being taught. This is a lot of information to teach someone in 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm not able, it's almost like, okay, I teach how to fly a helicopter, I teach how to fly an airplane, I teach how to fly a spaceship, and I do all that in 8 weeks. Because I have it on a piece of paper and I give it to you. I mean, you know.
Only caught part of what you, only catching part of what you're saying. I do have some issues hearing your voice is echoing.
I apologize, Mr. White.
What he's saying is, he's not understanding how you're going to be able to touch everything that you have listed in the amount of time that you have the program for. I think it's 8 weeks. He's saying that doesn't seem like enough time based on his professional opinion, being in the business himself.
So as an accredited testing center, as you know, NCCER credentials for pipe fitter and all 70 crafts that we teach are approved by industry leaders. And we're not, the full level 1 pipe fitter is typically a year-long course, but we're not teaching someone to actually sit and take their pipe fitter level 1 test. What we're doing is we're modifying and integrating our curriculum with key elements that allow people to get into an apprenticeship program, and through a 10,000-hour work schedule, they're able to sit and take up to their level 3. There are 4 levels in a pipe fitter course. Level 1 is really a entry-level pipe fitter. Level 2 is someone with hands-on work experience. Level 3, they become a junior level pipe fitter, and level 4 is a full-fledged pipe fitter. That takes about 4 years for a person to get all the way up to a level 4. We're only teaching them the entry level so that they're able to then get on a pathway to a full journeyman. So you're right, Mr. Petrie, you can't teach a junior level or full level pipe fitter in an 8-week course, but we are able to teach
In that, pipe fitting, and I know you know the business, but what I heard him say, it prepares that individual to become a helper to a pipe fitter. And then I would think, then they would have to decide if they're going to go into that 2, 3, 4, 5-year training program. But I think this is just a glimpse of what the industry is about and what the business is about. And because what I'm hearing him say, there is a need for those type of people just to help, to get into the field. And I'm not sure. You know the business better than me, man.
Sir, again, I would say I would love to see the actual program and review it. One thing what I would hate to see happen, and I can't speak for industry as a whole, but there is a thing where you can teach somebody the wrong way. And then you got to untrain them to train them correctly. I've seen this happen many times over the past quarter century, been in this business. And because they develop bad habits sometimes, but they were taught that way. And since I haven't seen the program, I can't really comment on whether it's good or bad. But what I will say, and I'll say it again, is I would like to be able to review it along with someone else. Then, it could be excellent. But without seeing it, I can't support it.
Mr. White, are you currently administering the program here in Southeast Texas now? I think you administered something like that at the school system, right? In the school, right?
So no, okay.
Is there a way that if any one of these board folks want to see exactly what's being done, that we could arrange where they could go and actually see what's being done, if that's the desire of the board?
I'm having a tough time hearing you, Mr. Baptiste.
We're trying to see if, first of all, if you're doing this type of program in this area already, and secondly, if you are, is it possible maybe for any one of the board members that may want to see how it's done to be able to come through and take a look?
Yeah, we would be happy to do that, but I just wanted to kind of comment on something that
Go right ahead.
stated. We are an accredited training provider by NCCER, who set the standards, and we're also a testing center for NCCER craft training. So we're able to do the proper assessments. There are 2 parts of an assessment. There's what's called knowledge, and then there's what's called performance. A student has to go through both of those to prove that they have created the competencies to meet the requirements of the NCCER craft training. So he talks about takeoffs. Takeoffs is something that we do in our math module in our program. That's a whole module on math because we had problems with people just learning how to do basic fractions. So we took that complete module out to teach that. So we're not making up this curriculum. We're teaching it from a nationally approved accreditation board, and these are the standards that are being taught, and we're fortunate to have the criteria to be able to do that. And again, we're not trying to, again, make anyone a full-fledged pipe fitter. We give them the foundation. Now, the apprenticeship program has nothing to do with the training. The training just prepares them to get into an apprenticeship program that's where they can hone their skills, and over a 4 or 5 year period, they may be able to sit and take the full-fledged journeyman test after they get some hands-on experience, which we administer that exam as well. This is what's been done in the industry in Southeast Texas for the last 20 years, is what we're teaching.
Okay, so now, based on that, this is some of the concerns that I'm having. 6 to 8 weeks, we have lifestyle modules, okay? Conflict resolution, anger management, effective communication, resume writing, interviewing skills, employability, financial literacy, and critical thinking. I have to learn all of that along with the curriculum on how to do forklift and hand tools and all of this in 6 to 8 weeks. I still am not seeing how that is going to be able to be done in 6 to 8 weeks. Give me a second, sir. Mr. White, let me finish, please. It's so much information in such a short period of time. Now, this was a year-long class, a year-long course. Maybe now I'll feel a little bit more comfortable. But when you're speaking 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm learning things that, like anger management, okay, and I'm learning things like conflict resolution, and I'm learning things like financial literacy, and it's just a whole list of them. And I hadn't even gone into OSHA 10 training and all of these other things. Where am I going to have time to learn how to pipe fit? Where am I going to have time how to read ISOs? Where am I going to have time to do any of the hands-on work by the time I get out of this life skills and all of this other stuff? I mean, unless we're going to talk about it for 5 minutes each topic, I would like to see the program. And I don't care if it's in NCCER or certified or not. I can care less about that. That doesn't impress me. I want to know what that student is actually learning in that classroom. That's what I want to know. It doesn't impress me because a person could be NCCER certified. Okay?
Well, I think if I could suggest, maybe you should talk to one of the students. They could tell you exactly what they're learning, and we could have you interview one of the students. I think that's the proof in the pudding. You could look at the curriculum all you like, but we have people who have successfully gone through the program, and it's a 10-week program. It's not an 8-week program.
Okay, I was told 6 to 8 weeks.
The life skills piece is only done in the first week, and we teach this class both lecture and hands-on.
Okay,
So whatever they learn in the book, they have to learn it hands-on in the actual classroom.
Okay.
That's how the course is taught, to where we could approve that there's competency that this student has reached. If they have not reached the competency, they're not able to be certified within the crafts that we are training them in.
Mr. White,
Again,
since Mr.
number one,
Since Mr. White brought it there, I have spoken with students, graduates, and they have all the paperwork that he gives. I have copies of it. I'd be more than happy to bring it. Many of them come to my office looking for a job, saying they can't find a job. And I've got their names. Matter of fact, I got their whole applications. Several women, several men. And even then, I had concerns. What are they learning? They receive an NCCER certificate, which they gave us copies of it. We put it in there along with their application. but they're not getting jobs. At least that's what they're telling us when they come knocking on my office looking for a job. Some of them we hired as whole watch, fire watch, some of them, and some we didn't need them at all because by us being a union company, I can't hire people off the street. They have to be affiliated with the union. So we weren't able to even hire them because they weren't affiliated with the union, unless I put them in something like a whole watch, fire watch. But yet they all gave their training, and I would be more than happy to call them up and ask them to come to the meeting and let them tell you their own experience.
Well, I'm not going to say that we have a 100% placement rate, Mr. Petrie. I don't think any training organization can tell you that, but I can tell you that we at least have a 75% placement rate of every student that's come out of our program.
Mr. White, are you okay with me looking over the program, Mr. White?
Pardon me?
Are you okay with me reviewing the program?
Oh, sure. I think we tried to do that the last meeting we had last month, but Mr. Baptiste said he was not able to get you on the call, so we were able to talk on the meeting. So therefore, I've just been on standby waiting for Mr. Baptiste and yourself to reach out to me, which never happened. But I did follow up with Mr. Baptiste, and we talked about it. So if we want to wait, and if you have the time, I'd love to have our master trainer and our teachers. I'd love to have you to come and observe our course. But if we're going to say that we're going to do this, let's do it. And if it's not the right fit for the EDC, I do respect that. I just wanted to be able to see if this was an avenue to be able to see how we could train Port Arthur residents, if that's going to be the pleasure of the board. But if it's not going to be something you want to participate, I got it. I just need to know how we need to proceed and look at other alternatives.
I would be honored
But I
along.
am available to visit with you on the program.
We'll get Mr. Floyd to set it up, and but I would like another board member other than myself. Matter of fact, awesome person, Mr. Smith, and I would like maybe a Zoom meeting or whatever it is that can be set up. I'd be more than happy to, whatever could be done.
What we'll do, we'll have Renata make an appointment with you guys and take y'all to the facility and whatever the board desires, y'all want to, but I don't think we'd have a problem. Renata's contact Mr. White, make some arrangements for these guys to visit the facility. If you guys want to take action or table this until after that,
Let's wait until they sit and talk. We'll just table it one more time. It's okay. Let's wait until they sit and talk. I was under the impression that they had that this conversation had already taken place. So,
Renata going to get in touch with you and make some arrangement, and I guess you can tell her time and a date and where.
and Mr. White, just for clarity's sake, we've been about training for a number of years now, and that's going to be our focus as we continue to go forward. We just want to make sure that we're not just spinning our wheels. Some things we've gotten into were not as successful as others, so we're just a little more cautious as we move forward nowadays. I thank you for your patience and your willingness to work with us and to answer the question that we have, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah, let me just say one other thing before I
Go right ahead.
get off the call with you, Mr. Chairman. This is only an agreement, and you guys will not fund any program unless a person successfully complete it and get a job. So if I'm not doing what I need to do, I would never be able to receive any money from you anyway if the person has not finished the program or if the person hadn't gotten a job. So what you're signing and approving is really an opportunity for me to show you that it works. And if it doesn't work, I'm not going to get any money anyway. So we could delay this thing again, but I thought the funding was predicated on the basis of me actually training and placing people. And if I didn't do either of the two, I wouldn't get any money from the EDC.
Okay, well, that changes things because our agreements are normally not set up like that.
And I have a question on that, Mr. Chairman. Okay, so when he say getting placement, okay, are we talking about getting a job? Are we talking about them just getting a job as a whole watch, fire watch? Or are we talking about them getting a job that includes the training that they received from you as a piper's helper? Is that the type of job we're talking about? Or are we saying we're just going to get them a job cutting grass or janitorial or something? Because they don't need any of this training to get that.
that question for me or that question?
That's for him.
That was a question for you.
Because I'd like to know, when he said getting them a job,
So based on my dialogue with Mr. Baptiste, he told me what you guys measure on is actual job creation, but we don't actually go out and get jobs for people to be Whole Watch, Fire Watch. If they're not able to be a part of the 75% to get placed in jobs that our job developer goes out to get to them, they are welcome to go on their own with their credentials and to try to get employment. And that at least shows an employer that they took the time to go and get some type of training which sets them apart from others. We have a job placement component in our program, but everybody can be placed, but every one of those students are able to go out and market themselves. But we don't go out and market Whole Watch, Fire Watch jobs. We never went to any employer trying to place
so my question is he referring to they're going to get hired in this discipline?
Carpenter job as an iron worker helper, or a carpenter helper, or a millwright helper, or a pipe fitter helper. They have been pre-craft level positions. It's what we go out and try to place students in jobs.
Chairman, if he's saying that they're going to get jobs in what he's training them, I'll support it. No. But what I won't support is if they receive all this training and then they go out on their own and they can't find a job in this training and they get some kind of janitorial labor job and then they say, well, they working, I want to get paid. That I don't support.
Consensus of the board, I don't believe we're at a point where we can make a decision. I think we need to just have that sit down. Mr. White, yes, we will hold out one more time. Trust me, it'll work out, but let's do it the way it needs to be done. We'll table this if everybody's okay with that, and we'll get Mr. Baptiste to get Renata to set up a meeting with Mr. Smith and Mr. Petrie and yourself, Mr. White, to discuss the particulars, and they'll bring us back some good information so that we can make an informed decision about this. Now, it looks like we're going to have to start making committees again, because we don't do long discussions in our meeting. I just want to throw that out there. But no, it's okay. Thank you, Mr. White, again for your time. But we'll definitely be in touch, and we appreciate your patience, sir. Renata, stay right there where you are. I believe you're going to be speaking again. So we're going to table 5, and we'll move to agenda item number 6. I got to catch my breath. To discuss for possible consideration, termination of a contract with Angels Divine Touch.
As you guys can see in your packet, you actually have an email from Angel herself, and she's wanting to terminate the contract that we currently have in place due to loss of profit on her side. So she's wanting to terminate the contract. And she wanted to be on the call tonight. She actually sent in a letter just thanking the board and just everybody for the opportunity. So that's what we are right now.
Do we have anybody currently enrolled in there that we have to pay for?
As of right now, we're okay. I've made contact with her.
We don't owe her anything.
We don't owe her anything.
Well, I hate to lose one of our training programs, but that's what happens when we can't get the numbers and things that we need. So, but at least the effort was put forth, and we thank her for engaging us and allowing us to funnel people through our program for the period of time that we were able to do that. And I hope that she's still successful in her business endeavors as she moves forward. Any other questions or comments about that particular line item? So do we need to break that contract? So I need a motion and all of that stuff? Yeah? No? Okay, I need a motion on that.
I move that we rescind the contract to Angels Divine.
All right, it's been moved in second that we rescind the contract with Angel Divine Touch. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Renata. Agenda item number 7, to discuss for possible consideration the terms and conditions for the Emergency Command System center lease at 549 4th Street between the city of Port Arthur and the Port Arthur EDC.
I'm gonna get Jana on that.
Jana.
Yes, so what you have in your packet is a one-page with the proposed lease terms for the Emergency Operations Center. Here at this building, we rent at about $1.10 per square foot. We reduced that a little bit for the new building. The EOC is about 6,267 square feet. And what I'm proposing is rent at 50 cents per square foot, 40 cents per square foot for CAM, common area maintenance, which will be janitorial services, electricity, water, gas, because that one building is going to have 1 meter. The audio-visual 60-month lease, that is their actual cost of what we'll pay to DataVox for the audio-visual components of the EOC on a monthly basis. The phone system is the actual cost. And on the cloud-based network, I divided the cost between us and the EOC in half because part of that is technology that would stay with the building should they decide to move out. The other part of it is their cloud-based internet service and the cloud that phone service will utilize as well. Remember that if we have a natural or industrial disaster, their services won't go down because everything is based on the cloud system. So the total is $7,863. The CAM was doubled based on the actual cost of this building because that building's about twice the size. Typically, our lease terms will say that it'll stay the same for 2 years. It'll be looked at after 2 years to see, where we are with CAM or is our revenue covering our expenses? If not, then it'll go up no more than 2%. But we'll give them 2 years at this rate and then decide if we're going to go up about 2% after 2 years based on our actual expenses. Because right now I can only do a pro forma budget based on this building.
Basically, you lock it in for 2 years this way.
Right.
So it's not stuck for 60 months.
Right. You're right. So right now that my pro forma budget shows that we could cover our costs based on doubling the CAM here at this building.
Questions? Motion.
Huh? It is a pretty good rate, but we want to attract people downtown, so.
Can I have a motion?
I'd make a motion that we accept this proposal.
It's been moved in second that we move forward with the terms and conditions for the Emergency Command Center lease at 549 4th Street. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. I'd like the board to direct the lawyer to try to take this term and condition, put a lease agreement together, and then at the next board meeting, we can come back for final approval.
Okay, do I need to get them to reword their motion? No? Okay, good. It's been moved in second that we move forward with the lease, with the terms and conditions for the command center for the lease between 549 4th Street, the city of Port Arthur, and the Port Arthur EDC. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 8, to discuss for possible consideration amending the CDL agreement with Lamar State College, Port Arthur.
Yes, okay. So basically, currently the agreement that we currently have in place, I think we pay Lamar 50% at front and then 50% at completion. And as of right now, we're asking to amend it because a lot of people, I'm working with Amanda and I'm receiving a succession rate and a failure rate. And we're noticing that we're actually having a lot of terminations since, and I will say, and I think Dr. Stafford is still on the phone. If he is on the phone, he can chime in, but I will say that Lamar State College Port Arthur actually lost a professor last year during COVID, and a lot of changes were made. But I will tell you that we were on a roll, a really good roll. People were getting in, getting out. Certifications were taking place. People were getting jobs, as what you asked about earlier. And at this point, because of the decline, a recommendation was made that possible 25% at the front and then 75% at the back, so we won't lose fundings. Because we're paying, so with a Class A, we pay $12.60 in the beginning, and then if it don't complete the class, then we lose the $12.60. So we're out of money. And the same with Class B, 900 at inception and then at 900 at completion, and we're losing money. So pretty much 25% at the beginning and 75% at the end. It would be what we would amend the contract to. And after I spoke with Dr. Stafford today, and like he said, we've had high success rates. We've been in partnership with them for quite some time now, and he currently works with other companies that pay 100% up front. And if he's stating that if this money is lost, then we will be the last funding source. And so pretty much it's at the discretion of the board on what you guys choose to do.
Just said that with the 25-75, that Dr. Stafford was okay with that, is what you just said?
No, he really wasn't okay with it.
Okay.
But he should be on the phone. I think he wanted to make some comments. I don't know if he's still
Ma'am,
there. Okay.
If I can make comments, I would be pleased to.
Go right ahead, Dr. Stafford.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, President and Commissioners. Always a pleasure to talk with this board. I've worked with a lot of you, and for those who don't know me, I'm Ben Stafford. I'm VP of Workforce and Continuing Ed, right down the street from y'all. We have worked together for about 5 years now, and I will echo what Ms. Lee has told you. We have had a streak of performance. As a matter of fact, if you look at completion rates for two-year colleges in Texas, the average completion rate for our state for a two-year college student is 42.4%, 42.2%. The average completion rate at LSCPA is 51.4%, fully 8 points higher than the state average. And let me give you statistics for your program. In 2017, you sent me 34 students. 68% of those completed the program. Of the 68 who completed, 100% went on to earn their license, and 21 of the 23, or 91%, went on to take a job in trucking. In 2018, you sent me 24 students. 71% of those completed. Of the completers, 100% earned their license. 18 took a job in trucking for an 88% employment rate. In 2019, you sent me 31 students. 68% completed the program. Of the completers, 100% earned their license, and again, 18 or 86% were employed in trucking. So at any given year, I know it may hurt to think if you send me 10 students, I may lose 3 or I may even lose 4. But Port Arthur EDC graduates are amongst the highest achievers in the state of Texas since this contract has started, running at least 25 percentage points above their peers. I can't tell you where we'll turn out for 2020. It won't be as good a year as the past, but Lord, it hasn't been a good year for any of us, has it? The pandemic has been something, that's been difficult for the college to face as well as our students to face. I only have raw data for that year. Completion rates by cohort range from as low as 39% to as high as 88%. As Ms. Lee has shared with you, we've had a much higher rate of dropout. We've had a lot of students have illness in their families. We've had a lot of students who have to work while they come to school, and they've seen not just their job go away, but the whole company they work for fail. So it's been a challenging year, but at the same time, we were one of a very few programs that were even operational, and for much of the year, while DPS were closed, we were only one of 6 programs in the entire state that not only are we a training center, but we're a DPS third-party examiner. So when even when DPS was closed, our program was operational and training students and sending them out into the workforce where they are immediately hired this year. So I would say 2020, even if we fall to the state average, we will be heads and tails above what you will see for the new state average. As far as tuition, my Class A tuition is at $3,750. I charge the EDC $25.20, which is my break-even cost. My Class B is tuition is $2,150. I charge the EDC $1,800, which again is my break-even cost, and we do agree to take 50% up front and 50% at completion. When Ms. Lee called me this morning, I said, you know, the 25% will not be very workable for us. I said we would use it as a payment of last resort, essentially, for a student who could get no other funding. I talked with the comptroller after that and was told that we simply could not accept that as a funding. That at that point, essentially, the college had become the funding source as opposed to the training provider. And we're simply not set up to operate in that fashion. In the workforce side of the college, all of my faculty are paid directly from tuition-based costs. We have no funds that allow us to front a student their tuition and then be reimbursed after the fact. So I don't know how the board will vote. I can only say thank you sincerely for all you've given in the past. I would tell you we've created something that is among the highest performing centers in the state of Texas for what it does. If you choose to change the contract, again, thank you for what you've done in the past. We would look forward to working with you if you would like to leave it the same. But if you choose to change it, we'll simply look forward to our next chance to partner with you.
Mr. Batiste.
Yeah, Dr. Stafford, I certainly am aware of the success we have had working with Lamar, but based upon our meeting at our last board meeting, I think the concern of the board was we had people enrolled and we paying 50% of it, and they dropping out, and then 2-3 months later, they're coming back and asking for additional money. I think that is the question that we need, this board wanted answered, because as you know, just like you guys, we have a fiscal year and we budget each year X number of dollars. And when we have folks rolling from one budget year to another budget year, they're not in that budget. And it affects this, it affects us. So I think our direction to Renata was, let's look at the policy that we currently have, which is 50% up front and 50% behind, but let's look at the enrollment of these folks. And I don't know if it's going to have to be better screening, but it can't continue like this. And you see what I'm talking about. When you look at those numbers, you know, people coming 6-7 months later, some of them a year later, you know, and then they're asking us for money again that we don't have in our budget. And I think that is, I hope the board, I think that was the concern of this board. How do we deal with these folks that start in May and expect to end in March and expect to end in May of 1 year, and they don't end a year later? You know,
yes, sir. I have students who have consistently come since September of last year, and I have specifically not dropped them because they have consistently tried in what's been a very difficult year for this entire world to train, and we haven't dropped them. But then at the same time, we've had students who, through many different situations, have simply just not been coming. And I think what we see now are students who were dropped from the program because they were not attending at all and we could not reach them. And so they were dropped, and they are coming back now asking to become students again. The trouble with it from our standpoint, while I have other students similar to that who've come consistently, what's happened to them, I have the option in the college, according to statute, if a student fails a class, I can pull them forward, giving them an incomplete, and drag them into the class after theirs. I don't even have to charge them for it, and that's what I've done with many students who continued to train. But we have other students who, for whatever reason, I'm assuming simply did not have the option to continue to train. Something in their life was so bad that they needed to go and deal with it. And there's been a lot of that in this pandemic. But when a student like that, who's been officially dropped, comes back months later, technically at that point they are not a student of the college. I have no option to simply drag them forward because they've been dropped as a student. Since they are no longer a student, I can't simply put them back into the program to continue to train, because since they're not a student, they're not covered under my insurance. I can't put them in the trucks again.
And I
So we
certainly
have a
understand.
group of students
I
that
certainly
we wouldn't
understand that,
normally
Doc.
see.
I
And
certainly
yeah, it's an anomaly for this year. And I'm sure those are the students who are coming to say, could I be funded again?
You're right. And I certainly understand that, Doc. I think this board concern right now is how do we fix this? And what, you know, I think at last board meeting, if the board members recall, there was even some discussion about the client paying us back because, you know, we're using money that we don't have budget for. And I think what we're looking for is a resolve. Is not looking at removing people or not allowing people to go through the training. Is how to resolve this in and out. And I don't know if it's better screening up front or I don't know the answer. But what I do know that it affects our budget.
Yes. The most I can say, on a case-by-case basis, I'm willing to look at any of them and do what we can do, but realize we've done that with each individual student. If a student has been dropped, it's because they were not attending, and we could not reach them. They would not respond to calls. If a student has been conscientiously trying to work the program, even though they've been sporadic, we've kept them in the program. I've got students in the program from August of last year, I know.
Yes, sir.
That I have not asked to bill the EDC an additional payment for. I mean, we keep them because we're a state college. I've got to break even, but I'm not looking for the profits the for-profit market must make. We've got a little more leeway, so we do what we can. But a student who was dropped could only have been dropped if they weren't even responding to our calls, so there was no way to work with them.
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think some of the discussion you guys had last time was looking at our policy and seeing if there's anything that we could do to recover some of that money from the client themselves. I don't know. You know, Dr. Stafford, they do an excellent job for us. I'm telling you, they do an excellent job. We certainly have a very good working relationship with the local university, and we want to continue that relationship with them. But at the same time, you know, we have, just like everybody else, we have to manage our money. Yes, sir.
I understand. And as I say, you know, if you choose to change the contract in a way we can't partner with you, we will simply look forward to our next chance. This college and this city have been partnering for 112 years now. We're always going to be looking for our next chance to partner with you.
Dr. Stafford, hold on a second. Pull your mic, please.
Let me ask you a question, Dr.
Yes, sir.
Stafford. This is John
Yes, sir.
Sherfus. Do you feel that this situation is going to rectify itself in this year's classes coming up? I mean, do you feel that it's
Yes, sir,
going
I
to
do.
be?
in addition to the pandemic, which was just hard on everyone, we lost a key teacher in November. He died of a heart attack. He was one of our main teachers. He was also an examiner in our program. I know that affected a lot of the students who worked closely with him. Very dynamic man, a gifted teacher. A lot of those students we lost touch with for a month, almost 2 months afterwards, but most of those have been recruited back. We were able to replace that leader with a new, strong leader in February of this year, and I think we're making enormous progress in the program. Student attendance is markedly better. I would not anticipate we would see the problems of 2020 repeated into 2021.
Well, that answers my question. I'd like to see that happen.
Yeah, let me ask one more question, Doc, while it's on my mind. Pete, I'm old, you know, I got to say things wrong. The question, are we notified when is EDC notified when those individuals drop? Are we aware?
There's not a monthly report turned into the EDC, no. So when a student drops, you would hear about it in your end of the year report. But if the EDC would like to be more active with us, we would simply welcome the chance. I mean, if a student doesn't come to class, my instructor makes an effort to call them to see why aren't they in class. But if they won't respond to the calls, you know, we don't have the employees to simply chase them. If the EDC would like to be more involved and could possibly, you know, make a call to the student as well, we would only welcome that.
Actually, Amanda has been providing me that. Actually, the report that you guys got tonight, this is the second one that I've received. So she and I are actually monitoring the students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Stafford, this is
As
Rose.
it's reached this point, I did not realize that was going on, but I'm glad that's going on.
Yes.
Dr. Stafford,
Yes, sir.
this is Roosevelt.
Mr. Petrie, how are you, man?
It's been a long time.
It has been way too long. I didn't know you sat on the board.
Yes, sir. Doing good. Hey, Dr. Stafford had provided us some opportunities for one of the plants where we were actually doing some weighing and training on overhead crane training. Dr. Stafford has been working in this community for a long time. And it's very unfortunate with COVID and the way COVID had students not going to classes. As he said earlier when Mr. John was speaking to him, I think that the problem is going to kind of work itself out. He was just the whole world was just discombobulated for a little over a year. And some people just kind of getting their lives back together, and some still hadn't yet. And even now, in this very meeting, we're being affected by COVID. I'm looking at people got masks on right now. Some don't, some does. And we don't have anyone in the audience. So even over a year and a half later, we still dealing with COVID. And I can certainly understand, and I don't know the reasons, some of these people probably dropped out, but I'm sure that this COVID-19 had something to do with some of them. And so it kind of made the numbers, I think, it skewed the numbers in the direction that we probably don't want to see. But I certainly am with Doc when he says that this is going to most likely work itself out. I really think so.
And I think so, but I also think, I want to echo what Mr. Petrie said. You know, I've been working with Dr. Stafford and the staff at Lamar for some time. I still think we need to put some control on this so that we could know what's going on. Right now, it's in the end, 6, 7, 8, 9 months we finding things out. I think, Doc, if you guys could have some type of report that is coming to us, neither on a monthly basis or quarterly basis, or some kind of way so that we could know what's going on. You know, I look at this from the financial side, Doc. You know,
Sure. I don't have any problem with that at all. And from what Ms. Lee was saying, she and my office manager are already putting together something like that internally and conferring monthly. So I'm all for us sharing with you what we do. I mean, we're open.
Mr. Chairman and fellow commissioners and Renata, as I was thinking about what what Floyd has said, and also I do agree with the controls, but also I think the students need to have a little skin in the game too. So when I'm thinking about, you know, how the wording may be, you know, there might be some kind of stipulation we need to put in there to make sure. I'd rather have less students that have a commitment than more students that don't have no commitment.
I follow you. I follow you.
Because, you know, situations and environments ain't gonna always be, you know, sunshine and rain every day to figure out whether you can go to training or not. You know, whether it's raining, you're gonna go to work.
Right.
Whether the sun is up, you're gonna go to work. Whether it's snow on the ground, you're gonna go to work. There gotta be some commitment and some wording up front that's gonna give them tie them to some type of obligation that's gonna hit them somewhere where it's gonna matter. Tied to the controls that Floyd just communicated, that we make sure they have some drive to complete the program. Because if they don't have drive to complete the program, why they starting the program? That's just my thoughts.
I hear you. I hear you.
I believe one of the other things that kind of caught my attention was it sounded like people were going and coming. I think one of the things to keep the relationship, because the program is very important. I don't believe the 50-50 is going to matter. We have a set budget for the amount of money we spend on the program each year. We're not going to go over that anyway. But what we don't want to do is pay for the same person twice. You know, if you go through is there a way that we can write something in or just alleviate that? Because I think that's the main issue is we don't want to pay for the same person twice. We gave you a chance, you know, and yeah, we gave you a chance. So that's really the main thing. We don't want to spin our wheels like that. I think that's one of the main issues.
and Mr. Chairman, I think you said the appropriate thing. I think if we had a check and balance and they reporting to us on a monthly basis, we will know. Because right now, we're not knowing.
Is that something that needs to change, or is that something that needs to be written up, or?
Well, I think based on what I've heard tonight with Renata, she said that there is a process in place where they're going to exchange this information. And she know everyone that's enrolled because they have to send documentation. So if it's someone that's currently enrolled or previously enrolled, then it's going to, flag them.
So we can move forward now that they have the monthly check in place.
Yes.
I would think so.
I wish we would have started there. All right. Okay, so we don't even need to do anything with this one. Do we need to? No, it's staying the same. Dr. Stafford, thank you so much for your time and for your involvement in our community, continued involvement in educating the people of Port Arthur and what you do for us. We really appreciate you. Thanks for the relationship and the partnership.
Thank you, sir, and bless you too. Thank you.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Number 9. To discuss for possible consideration recommendations for the content of the PA EDC summer newsletter. Mr. Baptiste Renata, who's Renata. All right.
Okay. So as you guys can see in your packet, you have a draft of the 2021 Volume 9 PA EDC newsletter. Pretty much, Mr. Baptiste is wanting you guys to pretty much look through everything, and if you have any recommendations, if you want to add something. I will tell you that we are missing a piece of information from Acadian Ambulance. I was supposed to get that information. I did get it today. I was supposed to get it last Thursday. However, she did send some information earlier. I was unable to pull it up. George, were you able to pull it up? What she sent? Okay. So once I get that information pulled up, I will have that put in our newsletter as well. But pretty much, this is the newsletter.
Only going out in English?
Yes, actually, we only have a allotted amount of money in our budget. And because it is at the end, pretty much this year, it will only be in English.
Okay.
I have a question. How long has it been going out in more than one language?
Ever. This will be the first, never.
I don't want to offend anybody. If it's been going out in multiple languages, it's just my opinion. Has it been going out in multiple
No,
languages?
it hasn't. It hasn't.
Oh, it has not?
No, that was his recommendation, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I thought maybe this time we weren't doing it. Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
And also, Ms. Rhonda's picture will be in the newsletter. And it is on the website.
I was wondering what that mark was. I wasn't gonna. I'm sorry, y'all. Any questions or anything that's missing? Oh, my goodness. Okay, so we are moving forward with what are we doing here?
Newsletter?
Yeah, just for the newsletter, so I need a motion to.
I got a quick
Yes, sir.
You talked about the budget, that you share a budget with Crystal.
Correct.
So how you know what X amount of dollars you have?
Well, with the newsletter, this actually comes out of our promotional budget, which was the old marketing budget. But Crystal and I actually share the job training funds. So basically, I'm operating, for the newsletter, I'm operating out of a totally different budget. It's a separate line item, yeah.
Anyone else have any? I'll entertain a motion. All right.
Second.
All right, been moved and second that we approve the recommended content here for the PAEDC summer newsletter. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Renata. Agenda item number 10. To discuss for possible consideration board recommendations to revise the PAEDC 5-year strategic plan. Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, sir. Last board meeting, I gave you a copy of the approved 5-year plan for EDC. I suggest to go through this thing, look at it, see what we have here, and if there's any changes or new directions that y'all want to take, we certainly like to have it, as directed. This is what I go on. This is what I do. What you see here, these are the things that we try to accomplish. We don't accomplish it all. Like I will tell you, like number 4, growing entrepreneurship. We got Janet. We got Janet out here, and she's working on the entrepreneurship of the year. But these are the things that we try to accomplish. And what I've asked you guys last week is, this was done 5 years ago. Look at it. Give your staff directions on where you want to go. If you want to take this thing and dish it, fine. and start all over, fine. Whatever direction you guys want to go, but we need to have a plan. I certainly, I believe in a plan.
So are you looking for recommendations today? Okay. Comments?
Yeah, I was reviewing the strategic marketing plan. You know, and as I look at how we
Mike?
As I look at how we're communicating, where we're communicating, what language are we communicating, and what mediums we're usually communicating, I'm thinking that we need to kind of look at that to see how we're getting our message out. You know, as I read demographics, you know, a lot of people are not reading a lot of paper anymore. They're reading things in mobile and digital. So the question still remains in my mind, how are we communicating our contributions? How are we communicating our successes? How are we communicating what we're doing? How are we communicating what languages so we can make sure people understand how we're doing what we're doing? So maybe at some point it might be prudent to look at how we are getting our message out beyond our website and beyond our LinkedIn page, to those that need to know about what we're doing, to include the people that need to know who we are and where we're going with our strategic plan. Because I know we know what it is, and I don't know if that's something we hold into ourselves or that's something we need to socialize what we're really doing. That's just kind of my thoughts.
Uh, 95% of the folks that goes to our website are economic development organizations. You know, normally very few general public go to, because what we do, we market to, we are economic developers, you know. So if you look at our website, a lot of it is catered to the business community. It's not catered to, you know, the regular residential folks, because that's not the folks we're trying to reach. We're trying to reach those folks, those site selectors, those people that's trying to move here, move a business here, and expand a business here. That's why a lot of the stuff you see on our website is strictly for business. And there's very few people, residential people, go to our website. Very, very few. Because there's nothing related to them. That's, you know, there's nothing, especially the type of organization we are. You know, our job is to recruit and expand business enterprise. That's what we do. Yeah. We do have social media. I don't ever go to it, but I don't know what they're putting on that deal. And but even the business community, the LinkedIn is from the business side, you know. But we certainly would take into consideration what you just said.
I understand. As I think about entrepreneurship and what we're trying to do there, you know, those are them small to medium to startups. You know, they're not the bigger organizations that I know we're trying to target to try to see what they want to do to expand our proper.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, I don't know if those entrepreneurs will go to those bigger sites to kind of figure out if they have an opportunity to engage.
And I will say that Jana is currently working on a brand new website for the community center, not the that will include that. It's a different focus. It's a different focus. But she is working on a website for that building that will include that entrepreneurship group, you know.
Are there any more discussion on the 5-year plan? Does anybody have anything else? If not, we'll go to, do we have to do anything about, we don't have to vote on accepting that, no. Okay, item number 11 is discussed for possible consideration of joint meeting with 501 Proctor Street, Inc. Board.
You want to table that? I'd rather table that now. All right.
We're going to table that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No, item number 12 is to discuss for possible consideration entering into a workforce training agreement with Acadian Ambulance Service for EMTs with the PA EDC providing a stipend for each enrolled Port Arthur resident.
Yeah, I think, Bernardo, you've been dealing with those folks again.
Okay, so, Acadian ambulance is pretty new to me. I think they've had like several meetings with Acadian Ambulance. I just met with the lady on last Monday. So I'm going to yield this question to Mr. Davis because I haven't had any communication, really, like any dialogue per se, as far as what the stipend is and where they're going with this. All I've received is pretty much a communication on become a medic. And that's it. And I think you guys were provided some other stuff that I actually sent out that he sent. So, I mean, I haven't been in on the meeting, so I don't really know what's going on.
Probably maybe about a month ago, Acadian Ambulance came in. They said they wanted to come to our community and basically start a program within the high school because they need a location for the program. And so myself, Crystal, Mr. Anderson, and the rest of the people in the Cape building, we met, well, a couple of people from the Cape building. We met with other staff members at Memorial to discuss how do we incorporate that here in Port Arthur. So what they came up with, they're going to do a program, I believe it's maybe around 13 weeks, and they're going to pay 100% of the tuition. Anybody anybody out of school, because of course here at EDC we can't pay for anybody that's still in school. So what they're going to do is they're going to hold a class there. I believe they talked with the school every Tuesday throughout those 13 weeks. They'll come from 5 to 9, I believe, somewhere in that. And then the rest of the hours that they take per week would be taken online. And so initially when you first get out of the EMT class, you'll make $14 an hour, and then you have the option to go to paramedic school for another year and a half, and then when you complete that, you can make $22 an hour. So we were very eager to get this thing underway because we're putting things together with the Cape program. When we go talk to Mr. Anderson and Ms. Fontenot and everyone in that building, we're seeing the success come from out of our youth here in Port Arthur. But it's not limited just to those. It's anybody in the city as well. They said that they're paying 100% tuition, and we suggested that we'd even give a certain amount of residents a stipend. So that's pretty much how we're bringing this to you guys tonight. Any other questions or concerns?
No, when is that?
The first class?
When would that take place? I mean, when would this?
Beginning of June.
Beginning of June?
June.
Oh,
Because
okay.
what they're doing right now, for the month of May, they're actually setting up all of the coursework, because I believe she said in Louisiana they're currently doing it, but they're just trying to get everything over here because Texas versus Louisiana, I think one of the differences was you don't have to be in the class as much. We only have one day here in Texas, that Tuesday out of the week.
What would the stipend look like? Do y'all have any idea?
I don't have any idea.
No. They're just asking if we'd be receptive to getting more information and to get in on this program, or do they really have any details about what our obligation would be?
No, that's the conversation. What would we want to have for the stipend for this particular program?
The thing is, the program is completely free. They're providing the program. But because of the dedication that a person has to give to it, It's almost impossible to be doing a couple other things at the same time. So as we've done for training programs, it's kind of the same thing, the same offering. If we could just give them some type of incentive to complete and go to and through this particular program. So it's more along the lines of a job training type deal. So it wouldn't be something astronomical or anything like that. Just something to keep them focused and dedicated on the time that it actually takes to complete this program within the time frame that is there. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
And I was about to say it's real similar to the one we did with Brand Scaffold, because I believe we have, I think, 10 residents.
Correct.
At $8.25 an hour.
Say it again.
10 residents at paying them $8.25 an hour.
Right. So it's on the lines of that. Same thing like you said, just, for their time, a certain amount of residents to get that stipend.
We talked about tight budgets and all that. Do we have money in the budget to allow for that?
I would have to get with Crystal to see where we are as far as the budget is concerned. Okay, so Rachel said we should be fine.
We would determine the amount of people that we would actually do that for and all of that stuff as well. So it wouldn't just be a free-for-all like normal. It's a certain amount of individuals and certain costs topped off, and we move forward. So, any other questions? Motion?
Make a motion.
All right, it's been moved and second that we move forward with the workforce training agreement with Acadian Ambulance Service. All in favor? Yep. Yes, sir.
Will you guys stipulate the stipend amount? You need that, Kate?
Well, I thought we were gonna look into it and then maybe at the next meeting we would have.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
She has to narrow it down.
Yeah, I thought they said they was gonna look into it, then get back to us
We
with the
need to
stuff.
have an amount
Well,
because
they starting in June, so
June,
they'll probably be
yeah.
after that.
So we got the
We
extra
gotta do it
June.
now.
Okay, well, I don't, what is?
Well, no.
For the stipend? And how many students do you want to do?
All we had was the total per hour, which was gonna be $8.25. But the number of students still had to be determined by the amount of money that we want to spend. And
I thought that was understood.
so, those are some of the numbers that,
Mr. Chairman.
what you have in mind.
Mr. Chairman, the entry-level payment for the EMT is about $14 an hour. I would suggest you guys go $7.25, $7.50 an hour for the training.
$7.25, $7.50.
Yes, sir. That's my recommendation.
How many students? How many students?
How many of y'all discussed, did y'all discuss the number of people?
No.
I don't think we need that for the motion. I mean, he said it's based on the availability of
Well,
funds.
we will set a ceiling because when we put this in place, we want to know exactly how much money we have to encumber, So if the board doesn't mind, let us look at it. We got, you guys set a price for the stipend, and let me get with Rachel tomorrow and look at the budget, and I could tell you if we could do 10 or 20. I don't know. I got to look at the money.
At $7.25.
Follow me, Ken?
Sorry. A stipend at $7.25 per hour, $7.50 per hour is recommended by Mr. Baptiste. I would suggest $7.50, and that would just be me. But if we can get that part written in and go along with the motion, and then we can just give them latitude, Renata, along with Mr. Baptiste and Rachel, to come up with that cap for us. I'm sure that they'll be able to take care of that without coming back to us. Okay, that's fine.
I agree.
All right. So again,
Motion.
Thank you. Second. Moved and second that we move forward with enter into the workforce training agreement with Acadian Ambulance Service to pay a set amount of employees or participants at $7.50 per hour.
$7.50, not $75.
I said 7. Oh, no. Now, see, that's what I would ask for. No. That would be the stipend. All in favor? Opposed? All right. So at this time, we'll adjourn and move into executive session. A closed meeting or executive session will be held pursuant to the following sections of the Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, Section 071, Section 072, Section 074, Section 078. We will adjourn now. All right, I believe we are ready to reconvene in an open session. Let's see, it's 8:49. May I have a roll call, please, Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, Ms. Counters? Mr. Petrie? Dallas Smith?
Here.
Rashad Harris?
Here.
Christopher Smith?
Here.
John Sherper?
Here.
Darrell Anderson? Mr. Chairman, you have the floor.
Very much. Again, I want to thank everyone for taking the time to consider everything that we had on our agenda on tonight, putting in the time and serving this great city that we all live in, we all love, and putting in the work to do what's necessary during this particular time. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.
Everybody second.
See y'all. Enjoy.